Today, we are joined by Tim Cortez, the Cortez Insurance Agency. Tim, very excited to have you today. So Tim, if you could just kind of get started and give us kind of an overview, if you could do like a 10,000-foot view of you, your company, and kind of what's next for you and kind of where you're going.
I built an agency with a captive carrier from scratch and moved to this area in Amarillo, Texas. Didn't know anybody, just knocked doors and just built my business that way. Used my car as my office, no gas, just walked and knocked doors. And now I'm an independent agent and I'm doing the same thing. I built the building, just no loans, no credit cards, just out there knocking doors. So
Love that. So when did you move to San Antonio, or when did you move to Amarillo?
I moved to Amarillo back in 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, I moved here in 2014.
So outside of just hard work, grit, knocking doors, what do you attribute your business growth to?
Work ethic.
Okay.
Period. I grew up working in the cotton gin, changing sprinkler tires, roofing, concrete, you name it, I've done it. Building swimming pools, 16-hour days, and I've been blessed with the opportunity to work with my head. And nothing against the guys that work with your back, because it's an honest living, it's great, but for me, it's just so much better.
Love that. Yeah, work ethic is something that people can't take from you, right? So that's one of those things that I always say. The two things I bring to work every day are my work ethic and my integrity. So love that in you. So let's think about some common misconceptions. Or you're working in the cotton gin, you're building swimming pools, something like that. But are there any common misconceptions about business? And how did you overcome those, or how did you address those?
Yeah, there's a lot, but I think the one thing that comes to mind is whenever you start a business, whether it's with a big company or franchising, maybe Nicodemus or something, like everybody promises you the world. You will give you the top-notch training, we'll send you here, we'll send you there. But nobody tells you how to run the business. Your taxes, your structure, your everything. That's not, they might hit on it a little bit, but their main thing is their systems and getting them to you and for you to understand the systems. So that's the big misconception. And the second one that I think that's on my list is people think, oh, you got a business, you can just cut a check and you don't worry about anything. And I'm like, I worry a lot more as a business owner than I did as an employee. It's a lot harder. I mean, everybody wants to be the boss until it's time to do what a boss got to do.
Yeah.
So those are the two big misconceptions that come to mind.
Yeah, and I would agree completely. Thank you for that. I think those are two very, very much true. And we talk about business school, they don't teach you how to run a business, right? Buying a franchise, they don't teach you how to run the business, they teach you the system. So great insight from you. Thank you for that. So as I think about, again, reflecting back on 16-hour days and working hard and knocking doors and those kind of things. So how do you balance your personal life with your business life?
Easy. Just go home. Don't get me wrong, when you start a business from scratch, I mean, you're working Saturdays and Sundays. But you got to balance that. And I was taught early on to do that. Because if you spend too much on one thing, you lose the other. If you spend too much on the other, vice versa. So what I do is I get up early in the morning, take care of some things, emails or something, but I stay at the house. I drink coffee with the wife, I see my kids, I hang out, and I leave early sometimes, and I attribute that to working smart, not hard. Okay?
Fantastic. Yep.
You go to work. Too many people allow the distractions to overcome them. And then when they go home, they're upset. Then they're upset at their wife, they're upset at their husband, they're upset at their kids because they're not making any money. So you got to manage those distractions and just know, I mean, it's okay to lose money to spend time with family. Just if you're okay, if you can comprehend that, you'll
Fantastic. As you grew from being just that, solopreneur into building an agency, having folks work for you, what qualities do you look for in employees, people that you're adding to your team? And then how do you garner that positive, productive work environment? How do you do that?
I just what I see is I've been on every level, like laborer, someone that's in charge of the crew. I've been there. So one of the things that I look at is number one is work ethic, because that's not teachable. I can't. I mean, you either got it or you don't. Number two, the biggest thing that I come across is if you're willing to learn. If you're willing to learn, I'm willing to teach you. Period. It's just as simple as that. The rest, I tailor it to the person. Because if they want to be somewhere else, I'm okay with it. I just want to know so I can help you get to that point. And that's it. Because if you take care of people, if you teach them in a way that they can go off and do this themselves, that's great. But if you treat them in a way where they never want to leave, that's even better.
Yep.
So,
Love that.
I just tell you, like, what do you like? People are motivated by different things. So it's just getting to know the person and saying what motivates them, and then just saying, hey, well, let's do something. And, here's the incentive if you do this or if you do this. And you just gotta get to know your people and just don't micromanage. Just don't, whatever you do, don't.
Hey, yeah. One of the things that I say all the time is I want to hire hearts and train smarts, right? So again, back to those things of the things that are here. I can't train that, but absolutely, if I can hire that, the rest can come, right? So I love that. So kind of back to that idea of all those things that they didn't tell you about running a business when you got started. Is there any advice that you would give somebody wanting to start a new business around financial management?
Yeah, for sure. My advice would be don't quit. That's it. Because the thing is I've met so many people in this business to where they have a plan B. Well, if this don't work out, well, to me, you've already quit. If you got a plan B, you've already quit like me. So the thing is I never had an option. I never had a plan B. It's gonna work. Now, when you come across setbacks, that's all they are. They're just setbacks.
Right.
So as long as your mentality, if you get up every day and do what you want to do, you do your dream, you follow it, the world will get out of your way. And I'm living proof. I've never thought I'd be here. I never thought I'd be sitting here at all. But you know what? You gotta stick with it. Just don't stop whatever you do.
So Tim, as you think about, the last 7 years you've been in Amarillo, you've been building the agency, you've been doing that work. Let's take a step back and say 5 years from now, where do you see your business? And then do you have any advice for business owners who are looking to make that same kind of growth over the next 5 years?
For sure. But I would, in 5 years from now, I honestly see myself having not necessarily the locations, but having agencies spread out.
Okay.
So I'm in the process of taking some people because right now, like nobody's getting appointments. Carriers are not getting appointments. It's just not happening. They're looking for any reason to get rid of actually. So for some carriers now, what I want to do within 5 years is expand and let these guys have an opportunity to grow, under me. Like, hey, you name it, whatever you want to, put your name on the door. I don't care. If these are my requirements, this is how we operate. This is how you're going to carry the name. Like as far as integrity, because that's it's my livelihood is on it. So I'm willing to give anybody a chance that wants to go and take it. So I was given a chance early on, and I want to be able to give that opportunity. Secondly, what I would encourage people to do would be to stay ahead of the curve. There's so many things changing. There's so many things changing, not only in the industry but in the world. So there's a lot of AI out there. It could be used for good things. It could be used for bad things. So know what you're doing. Get ahead of it. I mean, if you can use it to generate leads or generate some income, that's great. But just be knowledgeable because the world is your life. It's everything is on your finger. It's right there.
Right.
Everybody has 24 hours. What are you doing?
Fantastic. Yeah, no, that's great. That's great advice. Yeah, thank you for that. So now we're going to move into a section I call simple insight. So kind of 3 pretty short answer questions, kind of hard hitting, but then kind of give us a viewpoint on kind of how Tim Cortez ticks. So what's a book that you're reading right now, or is there a book or a podcast that you would recommend?
Yeah, for sure. I need to get on some podcasts, but it's not, I don't know. I need to try that. But books, um, Warren Buffett, Snowball. It's a good one. Rich Dad Poor Dad. They'll teach you.
Right. Yeah. Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Fantastic book.
Well, I wouldn't say
that as well.
I do some YouTube stuff. So like E.T., Eric Thomas, Earl Nightingale, those are good guys.
Right.
Earl Nightingale is where it all started.
Right.
And it's just, it's weird because it doesn't matter if it's back in the 1980s or 90s or 60s, 2020, 2023, it's still true. It still rings true. So, like I said, if the resources are there, just, even Uncommon by Tony Dungy. It's great.
Yep.
So yeah, there's several books out there, but I mean, as far as like the business wise, and leveraging money and leveraging, and trying to get everything going, that's where I would start this thing.
Okay. Biggest learning you've had since you started business?
Biggest what?
Learning.
Biggest learning?
Uh-huh.
It's running the business.
Okay.
Because I come in here like, hey, you know what? Let's do it. I'm gonna sell the world, and it's just, and then I run into a brick wall like taxes. Wait a minute, and I'm going back to my training, and they're like, oh no, we don't do that. And I'm like, okay. So the biggest thing that I came across was the meat.
How to run the business.
Yeah. How to structure it, manage it, run it.
So as you kind of look back over the last year, has there been one thing that you have changed your mind on in the last 12 months?
Yes. And do you mean as far as like a particular product, or do you mean like just?
I mean, I had this belief, I had this idea, this is the way I thought things worked, and now I've changed my mind on that. What would that be?
Sure. So, okay, and the reason I say that is because I just made this decision here just recently. And that's my next call actually, is I'm a PNC guy and a life guy. I started, with a company where I go and pick up the insurance premium every month. And that's just all I've known and trained through. I'm actually implementing health insurance.
Okay.
So that's a huge amount of income that's out there. It's there. It's getting, it's kind of getting polluted with a lot of, it's getting crowded, if you will. But it's out there. So it's something I've always referred out. I've never messed with it. And now I'm talking and I'm thinking, you know what? That's just another source of income. So you do need your peers, you do need your income, but you need multiple streams of income. Because if you put all your eggs in one basket and you lose it, it's like a school. You got 4 schools, you need those 4 income streams. because you gotta have it, because if something happens here, you're okay. You don't
Yeah.
want to be vulnerable to those attacks.
So moving from just doing property and casualty and life to adding in some health coverage, some health insurance, those kind of things. Fantastic. So Tim, how do we get in contact with you? What's the best way to get a hold of Tim Cortez, the Cortez Insurance Agency?
I'm old school. I'm not that old, but hey, man, you pick up the phone and call me, text me. A lot of people, the way we're found the most is Google, voice search, Google Cortez Insurance.
Right.
Then we're on Facebook, that's social media platforms. But the main thing is if you really want to get a hold of somebody, you just give them a phone.
Okay, pick up the phone. Love it. So last question, is there any additional information about your business that you'd like to share?
Another additional information for business. Well, I would say this because I just got a compliment on this with a client this morning, is that even though she's in another town, I have clients that drive hours and wait to see us, and those people I do take to lunch and stuff, but they're with us because we're not the cheapest, but we value every one of our clients. We're not going to throw you to an 800 number. We're not going to say, hey, call this, email this guy, call you adjuster. We want to make sure that we're going to walk you through every step, whether it's signing documents on the app, whether it's filing a claim, or just looking for someone to do some work on the house. It's just being that resource. That's kind of what we want to be. We don't do it all.
Right.
The resource for our customers, and today it made me feel good because she told me straight out, you're a little far, but you know what? You're the only agency that I've come across that's willing to help me, and that means a lot. That means a lot. So,
Fantastic. So thank you, Tim. Appreciate it. Have a great day. Tim Cortez, the Tim Cortez Insurance Agency.